There's a reason why me and none of you guys watching this video has ever heard of this game, by the way. It's dog shit. It's a dog shit game. It just is. Yo, guys! Welcome back! Welcome back! Welcome back! Today, we will be looking at some of the most embarrassing moments in games journalism history. You might know what I'm talking about. These are some of the most embarrassing, weird moments where games journalists have made themselves look like absolute fools. Let's have a quick look.
Who wants to hear a really funny joke? Gaming journalism. I think a lot of people have slowly realized over the years, gaming journalism is in dire straits.
Sonic was
It's
never
fake.
good.
For some
It's fake
strange
gamers.
reason, journalism, specifically about the gaming industry, seems to have people in it who know next to nothing about video games. Some act
Exactly.
like they've
Gaming journalism is fake gamers pandering to other fake gamers. There's people that don't play games. They don't play games. Wait, what are you doing, games journalism? You're just repeating talking points from the developers every single time.
never touched a video game in their life, even though that's, you know, their job.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a tough game,
Well.
old school tough, so you better bring your butt-stomping A game, as this will test even the most
New Super Mario Brothers Wii is a tough game, old school tough. Okay, brother.
seasoned platforming veterans.
Okay, brother.
Which begs the question, did these people really want to be game journalists in the first place? Or was this their only shot at getting in the journalism industry in general? It really seems like it would be the easiest job in the world. Play video games, go to gaming conventions.
Betrayal! What? Betrayal! Betrayed me!
That's the Halo voice line.
Sucks!
Who is this guy? I know this guy. Where's this guy from? I know this guy. I've seen him before. Where's this guy from?
Write about them, talk about them. That is like a dream job. So why is this so hard?
Oh, my
Why
days,
do
the
so
Cuphead
many
clip.
games
Oh,
journalists
my days.
completely drop the ball when it comes to games journalism? There are a multitude of theories, speculations, and attempted explanations, but none of those are concrete. The fact of the matter is
it crazy if I say that? I have literally never looked at IGN review or anything like it. Never. I have watched some before you buy videos, but never IGN.
games
Never.
journalists cannot stop embarrassing themselves.
It's just a waste of
So
time.
why don't I tell you all about my favorite moments of embarrassment from gaming journalists? These are the most embarrassing moments in gaming journalism.
Let's see.
God Hand was a PS2 game released in 2006, published by
I've
Capcom.
heard about it. Seth made a video about this. Seth Sinch, or whatever his name is. He made a video about this, and it actually was a very good video, and the game looks pretty fun.
And made by Clover Studio. Directed by Shinji Mikami of Resident Evil fame, God Hand is an over-the-top action game, and by over-the-top, I mean
Very over the top.
yeah, this game is crazy. If you have not played this game before, I suggest after this video is over, go see how it means to play it. It is a one-of-a-kind experience. Every person that I've talked to that's played it
That jiggle
loves
physics
it.
back then!
Well, except for one person. Out of all IGN reviews, many of them have
Oh,
been
no.
dunked and memed on. There's the well-known Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire review where they said it had too much water, and it got memed to hell and back because it sounded so
Too
ridiculous.
much water
But
is
there is
crazy.
one review they will never live down, and that would be the infamous God Hand review. The reviewer gave the
Uh-oh.
game a 3 out of
This was literally 20 years ago, though.
10,
see.
calling it awful. His main criticisms are, the game is boring, it's frustrating, and annoying. That sounds fair enough, at first. But when you really read through it, it becomes very obvious.
I won't read through it, I
He
promise.
was just really bad at the game. He boils down the combat to just mashing buttons when God Hand lets you do crazy stuff like this. He then complains he had barely any health going from stage to stage, and this made the game incredibly frustrating. When you put 2 and 2 together, you realize this man was most likely mashing buttons throughout the entire game, was getting his
He was
ass
just bad at the
whooped,
game.
and blamed the game
He was
for
just
kept
bad.
dying. And some of the info is just flat out contradictory. He claims the enemies were bland and generic, while in the very next paragraph,
What? What? Godhand has some of the most insanely diverse enemies. Everything from a guy who has had his penis chopped off to like a gigantic fat guy to a dominatrix to a guy that's the pet of the dominatrix. Like you guys have, it's every single type, and it's like the most diverse cast of enemies in any game ever.
Talks about demons that respawn from fallen enemies, which is something I don't think a lot of games do. That wouldn't really qualify as generic, would it? Oh, and by the way, did I mention that God Hand has a boss fight like this in it?
Oh my, damn, Power Rangers too!
Cardown Wild, Joker! One hard gangsta, Diamond! You can find me at the club! Have your pet neutered or spayed! Ow, 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 I'm hurt! I mean hurt! Together we are the
What?
Magnetic Power!
Why are you not playing this game yet?
You can't, there's
too
no
long
way.
Didn't read, he's bad at the game. He just didn't
Fair.
get it. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
After
yeah,
this
fair
review
enough.
was made, it's probably one of the earliest examples of people taking the piss out of a professional game website. A lot of people were mocking this dude, and this made him lash out on the forums.
Uh-oh.
Godhand came and went, but this review
2000
did not.
Did I just see a 2003 picture?
For years, this review became the butt of jokes. Anytime a bad game or a literal shovelware got a high score on IGN, it was compared to Godhand. Imagine Party Babies is better than Godhand. Even IGN is aware of all the crap this review.
God damn, I think the thing is, I don't get how IGN works. How are they paying for all these reviewers? How are they paying? Like, are people actually going to these websites? Are people opening IGN? How does IGN pay their staff? Is anyone reading their reviews?
You got. They even made a whole video defending Godhand and explaining how good it actually is a few years ago.
My name is Mitchell
Based.
Saltzman. I work at IGN, and I'd like to say that Godhand, a game that IGN dubbed awful 13 years ago, is in my opinion not just good, it's actually
When the website you work for is debunking your review over a decade later, that has got to be pretty embarrassing. Kotaku has some of the worst articles on gaming I've ever seen. They
Yeah.
screw up this job
Yeah, let's
more
do.
than any other website on this video. There are a slew of articles I could have used for this video. There's the PS5 review where the viewer says he can't enjoy the PS5 because of the state of the world around them. Well, I'm sorry for you, buddy,
What?
but that's something for your therapist and not people wanting...
What? Wait, what? Is this real? Oh my god. But I would be remiss to ignore all the reasons not to be excited for PlayStation 5. The world is still reeling under the weight of COVID-19 pandemic. Are we serious? If anything, the PlayStation 5 is a good, like, escape from the daily monotony and, you know, daily life. I would think that's good. PlayStation 5 is good, no? Oh, this age like 5-1, by the way.
PS5 because of the state of the world around them. Well, I'm sorry for you, buddy, but that's something for your therapist and not people wanting a review of a game console. But the one I'm going for is from the
Yeah, like,
UK division.
Why? The PlayStation 5 is good, but I can't give it a good score because of COVID-19. What? Persona? Banger. Banger alert! In Smash!
Smash Bros. Ultimate got its first
I
DLC
like Smash.
character with Joker
I
from
like
Persona
Smash.
5. But along with Joker came with a bunch of songs for the Persona series.
Ari, it's a Mercy skin! It's the Mercy skin! Editor, collab, Mercy, Persona 5. Thank you.
One of the songs being from Persona 5 called Wake Up, Get Out There. Pretty catchy song with some nice lyrics. One journalist at Kotaku UK did not think so highly of it. Shortly after the Joker DLC came out, a hit piece from Kotaku UK
It
came
was $6. It was $6? We're complaining about a $6 package for a game? Are we serious? $6? That's 1/3 of one skin.
out called Smash Bros. Ultimate's Persona 5 DLC contains a disability slur. At around 1 minute 57
What?
seconds, the term retarded is used, followed by the assertion, I can say it. This is the clip in question
What?
they're talking about.
Ready to pick up the pieces. Let's go. Let's play. Retarded. I say.
Now, I will give the writer this. It
It
does
did
sound
say
like
it.
it at a passing listen, but when
Wait,
you really
didn't-
think
didn't
about
know-
it,
but-
it doesn't make much sense being in the song. Why is your first response to write a hit piece on it?
Yeah,
When
low-key,
you listen
I
to
heard
the
it too,
song,
though.
You can tell the person who's singing
I
is
heard it
very
too, though.
obviously
Wait,
from Japan.
what did she actually
and
say?
Japanese was their first language, not English. So there's a lot of English in here, and she's still trying to sing in a language she's not native in. So why do you immediately go for the worst assumption possible instead of thinking
and what
maybe
did she
you
say, though?
misheard
What did she-
something?
what did
This
she actually say,
article
though?
was a joke, and a ton of different places laughed at it.
The likelihood that they say retarded in this song is 0%. It doesn't even make any fucking sense. Let's play retarded? When has that ever been
I mean,
uttered in the
that's
history
bars.
of
I ain't gonna lie.
humanity?
And realizing they could potentially be wrong, they started
That's so
editing it to
stupid.
include disclaimers that it might not actually be the word. But then Nintendo and Atlas came out and said, no, the song does not include that word. So it made Kotaku and the writer look like complete fools.
Twitter will not upload. Would seem like a thing. Whoever uploaded was it wrong with script. What did they say then?
Which they were. They eventually released a statement apologizing and throwing the writer under the bus, and then the writer threw them
What did
under
it
the
say?
bus. They would later delete the article, and a month after everything blew over, the writer announced they were leaving Kotaku UK to focus on their own projects. While she didn't say the article was a factor for the departure or not, the timing is a
What
bit
did they
too
say,
coincidental
though?
for it to not have been a factor.
What did they
Mishearing
say?
a song lyric, having become the punching bag for a week, and having an article you wrote get deleted, and then leaving the company a month later, that's really embarrassing. Probably the most infamous thing Polygon has ever done was the Doom 2016 gameplay video, where the guy playing it acts like he has never touched a video game in his life.
Couldn't be me. Could not be me.
But everyone knows about this incident. I'm going to be talking about one that's largely
didn't.
forgotten about. Their Bayonetta 2 review. Bayonetta was always Devil May Cry but with boobs.
Let's rock, baby.
That's what the entire series
These look
has
like
always
so... I'm not gonna lie, and their base game, these looks like complete Oh my god, what the
been.
f is this?
Hideki Kamiya loves women and the way women look. And he got a
What is he wearing? What the f... Those are some crazy glasses. Those are so great. What are you wearing, bud?
character designer who is also a woman to design the character he wanted. So you got an action game with a sexy witch, because that's what Kamiya wanted, and that's what Kamiya got. When it comes to Polygon's review, they spend only a few paragraphs talking about the gameplay itself. It seems mostly positive, and says it does a lot of things better than the original. But that doesn't matter, because
And they're
two-thirds
Palace
of it
games.
are complaining about
They
the
look
fact
really
the
stupid
game
to me.
shows off Bayonetta's assets too much. The game was made by a guy who likes boobs in action. The game is made for guys who like boobs in action.
I don't
and
hate
they have the
boomer
right
games.
to enjoy those if they please.
The game just looks like
and
shit.
the
Ain't
entire
gonna lie.
review is basically trashing the audience this game is intended for. He calls it cheap and pandering. He even docks points from the final score because of it, even though he flat out said it did things better than the
I mean, 7.5 is not bad, is it?
original. Like, if you don't like games with cheap boob and ass shots, that's fine. But that begs the question, why the hell are you reviewing a game that was made purposely for that? Like, look at this box art. Look at it. What the hell were you expecting?
I wouldn't mind tasting it.
Oh man, I sure hope this movie called Saw certainly doesn't have any blood or violence in it. Arthur Gase was the reviewer of Bayo 2 here, and he looks like he just got off recording for some 2000s new metal band. A lot of people complained about this review back then, but it's since fallen into obscurity because, well, other things would take center stage in the years to come. People do bring it up.
I'm not gonna lie though, his argument saying if you don't like the game, you shouldn't review it is kind of stupid, right? Like, it's like, oh, if you don't like sexy games, you shouldn't ever review a game that has sexy women in it. That's kind of stupid. But yeah, I don't know the review. I don't know the game. I think the game looks dumb from a gameplay perspective. It just looks like button mashing. But yeah, I think this guy's also going a little bit too hard. And I also think that is why this has fallen into obscurity, because like it's not actually that big of a
time to
deal.
time, and
Let's
Arthur
move on.
still doubles
Let's
down
move on, please.
whenever it's brought up. Having to constantly defend your nearly 10-year-old review from criticism, well, that's kind of embarrassing. The PlayStation Vita was a great handheld system, It was sleek, powerful, had a nice screen, and had a lot of good games. The issue is, it was released into a sea of...
What happened with the PlayStation Portable, by the way? I got a PlayStation... not a Vita. I got a PlayStation Portable Go. That was one of my first consoles. A PlayStation Portable Go. That's the one where you flipped it up and had like it slid up and had like the... It was a smaller PlayStation Portable. I only used it for like a year because I had to buy games, and my family... First of all, my dad and mom didn't even knew how to get me on Wi-Fi. So that was like, I couldn't even get a game. I like had like 4 demos. I had like 4 demos of different like racing games. That was it. I was a waste of money. But what happened to the PlayStation Portable? Where is it now? Is it just
competition
deleted?
By a company that didn't seem to care about it. But it still has its fans, and one of those fans worked at IGN. Colin Moriarty is a huge PlayStation fan. No, actually, he's a slobbering PlayStation fanboy. And he, like most fanboys, had a sense of superiority to their competitors. And he was going to express this in a piece he wrote about the PS Vita before it's released. The
Wait. Is there any competitors to the PlayStation Vita though? The PlayStation Vita and the Nintendo DS were not competing at all, by the way. The PlayStation Vita and PlayStation Go and PlayStation Portable, that was a console replacement. The DS was always a handheld. The PlayStation Portable died before the Switch, no?
PlayStation Vita is set to succeed. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting a console you're a fan of to succeed, but this article is more than that. This entire article is pure fanboyism at its finest. If he just wanted to gush about the Vita, that would have been fine, but of course, he had to compare it to the 3DS. He said the Vita was superior to the 3DS. I mean, hardware-wise, sure, but not just in hardware, in every aspect. The library, the brand itself, and flat out...
I mean, yeah, you're comparing a stationary console replacement to a handheld DS, right? A more apt comparison would be PlayStation Vita to the Switch, because DS games were just... The DS only played specifically for handheld games. The PlayStation Vita, PlayStation Go, PSP, they were all made to make the home console portable. It was like 2 different markets. It failed. I don't know why. If you try and buy a PlayStation Portable now, it's pretty much impossible because they've all been bought up. Because they've all been bought up and they're all modded. Go and try to buy a PlayStation Portable today. Good luck. It's gonna be like $900 because every single one has been bought up. They're all been bought and they're modded, and they're like the end game for handheld gamers.
Said the Vita was destined to sell more than the 3DS. And let me remind you, this is for a handheld that had not been released yet. He even flat out says the 3DS is of no concern to Sony. Nintendo isn't even competition.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's different markets. It's different markets.
But he
it's different markets.
After he spent most of the article saying how the 3DS is lesser to it, calling the 3DS library Nintendo 64 games and worn out, tired game series.
I mean, that's what it is.
Is one of the most fanboyish, insecure consoles.
You know what? I have only owned one PlayStation in my life 10 years ago, and I agree with this guy.
Warring articles I have ever seen.
I agree with Colin.
But as we all know, the PS Vita wasn't set to succeed. In fact, it did pretty bad on the market, especially to the 3DS, which also struggled, but still managed to sell 75 million units, while the Vita only sold around 15 million. The market spoke, and the Vita wasn't going to beat the 3DS. Sorry, Colin, but as long as Pokemon exists, the Vita didn't stand a chance. Colin...
It's crazy because the Switch is what the PlayStation Vita tried to be. The PlayStation Vita was the Switch before the Switch. And as we know now, the Switch is the best-selling console in history.
Colin would later leave IGN a few years later to go on his own path. But having this stain of an article still up as a reminder of how much you worship the ground PlayStation walks is incredibly embarrassing. Now, I contemplated putting this review in here because I actually feel really bad for the guy who wrote this. But it's still a funny story, so I decided to include it anyway. Alien Resurrection was a movie made in 1997 and was the 4th film in the Alien franchise. And honestly, it's a fun popcorn movie, nothing else. But being a late 90s blockbuster film, it of course got a game tie-in that was delayed for years and years until it finally came out in the year 2000. The game got middling scores all across the board and is mostly forgotten these days, seeing as it, well, came 3 years after the movie. There was one review on it, though, that while back then wasn't much, today is pretty funny to look at. the GameSpot review, where the reviewer gave it a 4 out of 10, which sort of makes sense for the milling review score.
No, but that's 4, but that's 5 out of 10.
But what is the reason for the 4 out of 10, you may ask? Well, the reviewer's main criticism was the controls. And what were the controls on this game like? Well, in the reviewer's own words, the game's control setup is its most terrifying element. The left analog stick moves you forward, back, and strafes right and left, while the right analog stick turns you and can be used to look up and down. Too often, you'll turn to face a foe and find that your weapon is aimed at the floor or ceiling, while the alien gleefully hacks away at your midsection. Now, does that sound familiar?
See, the thing is, if this was a review from 2010, yes, I would agree instantly. This is a game developed in the 90s. And in the 90s, we're talking tank controls. So like, I don't know, like, and it won't be like, oh yeah, of course, I'll just aim, it's so easy. It's a game from 1990.
To you? Well, it should, because that is
For
the
the
control
90s.
scheme for every single console shooter used to this day.
Yes, that is true, but there's hundreds of shooters and first-person perspective games made in these years, which are horrendous to play because they are not well programmed. I would bet my life savings right now that the guy making this video never played the original game. He never even touched it.
Yes, this game was one of the first games to use the dual analog setup everything uses now. It was a pioneer, and this reviewer hated the game for it. It's funny to laugh at it now, but you have to remember, back in 2000, a controller with 2 analog sticks was still a new thing, and controlling the game with 2 analog sticks was something never really done. Even a few years into the PS2's life, you still
There's a reason why me and none of you guys watching this video has ever heard of this game, by the way.
had games using the
It's
L and
dog
R buttons.
It's a dog
to control
game.
the
It just is.
It was too hard to shift away from what people were used to. So, this review was just kind of suffering from growing pains. The way we control games were changing, and this reviewer could not adapt. It's not really his fault, but it kind of is. Trashing a game for its control scheme that would later become the industry standard is something he could have never predicted, but in the end...
No, the thing is, how it was implemented is the problem. We don't know how it was implemented. We just, like, by definition, maybe it was good. But looking from the gameplay, it doesn't look
it's still
good.
embarrassing.
It looks like Tank Man. Come on, man. You did longing for it.
Kane and Lynch Dead Man was a game released in 2007, and it was set to be huge. A big, next-gen AAA game that was also a new IP. This game was hyped up quite a bit back in the day. Every place was talking about it and making a huge deal about it. And when the game finally came out, like, it got middling review scores across the board. It wasn't a game changer, but it was fine. That seemed to be the consensus. GameSpot was one of the websites hyping the game up to hell and back. You could not go anywhere on their site without seeing an advertisement for the game. They were telling you to buy it right there and right now. And when it came time to review the game, Jeff Gertzman on the staff was ready and able, and the score he gave it, 6 out of 10. So yeah, about what every other site was saying about it. But this was a special case, because GameSpot was very obviously taking handouts from the game's publisher, and once they saw Jeff gave the game a fair and honest review,
Taking handouts and getting paid to advertise is two different things.
and not a 9 or 10 out of 10 masterpiece, buy it now, they threatened to pull their money.
To be honest, I like this more though. Like, he was honest. 6 out of 10. The game is okay. You guys should buy it or whatever. We have ads on our website. That's fine. I would rather have that than the more modern, where every single AAA game is 9 out of 10. Every single game made by Bungie, every single game made by Activision, etc. They're all 9 out of 10. Like, okay, whatever. Every single game is good, I guess. I like this more than that. But let's hear the rest of the story. It sounds like there's gonna be a curveball coming in here.
This led to GameSpot putting a lot of pressure on Jeff, who stood his ground and refused to back off. This would lead to GameSpot pulling his review and firing him because he wasn't trustworthy enough. Jeff would later go on to form his own game website, Giant Bomb, so he could keep being an honest game reviewer. But this incident is more substantial than you think. This man was fired because he was being honest. He wasn't trying to butter people up or be dishonest with the people who were listening.
What a good guy. What a good guy.
The game is alright. and he was fired.
The
for
game is
that.
fine, but it is not
This
a
basically
masterpiece.
proved what many thought was
That's
happening in
fine.
game
That's a fine thing to
journalism.
say.
It was very possible for the publishers and companies to butter the review websites up with some cold hard cash to sway reviews.
That's what every single website and reviewer is doing today, by the way. Also, let me just get this right for you guys. Your quote-unquote independent reviewer, like your YouTube channel reviewer, they are paid for their reviews as well, okay? The only way to get actually unbiased reviews is to listen to the players.
Scores. This is exactly
Listen
what
to the
happened.
players, guys.
With all the advertising for the game, only to be given an average review score, the reviewer was then fired. That basically put huge doubt on any games journalism website. This can happen to any of them. And making everyone
It's not just the websites. Again, it's not just the websites. If anything, the individual producers and gamers are more susceptible to this. Because, like, for GameSpot, right? Hey guys, we'll give you $100,000 if you make a good review and you promote our game for a month. Okay, that's fine for them. That's not a huge deal for them, but it's like, yes, very good. If someone approached an individual producer like me or anyone else in the sites between 100,000 and 1 million subscribers, and they said, promote our game for 1 month and we'll give you $100,000. They will always say yes, guys. They will always say yes. So like we're like, oh, it's very easy to enforce or influence these websites. Individual producers are way easier to influence. Be careful.
start to doubt games journalism in general is extremely embarrassing. This
He's
puts
right,
a
though.
nice
It is
bow on
embarrassing.
everything. The fact of the matter is, it all comes down to money in the end. Money makes the world go round. Integrity and honesty
We love money.
be damned. Whatever makes me the most green is what matters most. That is what has been the main goal for a long time. In the gaming industry,
That's been the main goal for about 4,000 years.
in the
So
games
yeah.
journalism industry, in any industry. And that probably will be the main goal for as far as the eye can see. Remember, kids, the only opinion you can truly trust is your own. And no one can take that away from you. God bless, and good night.
Yeah, he's dead right. He's dead right. He is dead right. Pure respect. He is dead right. Yeah. If you guys want genuine interviews or genuine value statements about games, look to actual gamers and developers. Reviewers, no. Including YouTubers. If a YouTuber is making videos being pro or anti a game, keep your suspect hat on. That goes for me too. And I'm making like small bucks. Like I have like deals like, hey, here's $200, endorse our game. And you know, it's hard to say no. I do say no every single time I say no. But I mean, if they came to me like, here's $200,000, endorse our game, I don't know if I would say no, you know. Regardless, I love you guys. I'll see you around the game. Kiss, kiss, kiss.